everyone, welcome to Living Linkie Style. My name is Linkie and you can probably guess what time of the year it is. Yes, it's Halloween, and I love this little mask that I found because it matches my shirt. But you know what? It's my favorite time of the year because you get to eat all the candy that you want and you don't have to feel guilty about it, or not much anyways. But I am going to show you, let me first remove this because I can't work with this mask on, but I'm going to show you a few easy recipes today, quick and tasty at that, to make your Halloween one to remember this year. You know, I know that my husband is a carnivore. I've told you guys that 1,000 times, so I can't make treats or Scooby snacks, if you will, without bringing a little bit of meat in there. So I'm going to show you how to make mummies out of hot dogs. So what we need some pastries, then we need some cloves, some whole cloves for the eyes, and some hot dogs. So I have bought my, there we go, let me get rid of this, my pastry dough already made. You can make your own, but it's such a process because you have to keep folding and it's just trust me, some things are just better to buy. So what you want to do is you want to flatten it out a little bit. You can sprinkle some flour on the bottom. There we go. And then what I do for this is I just roll it out just a little bit. Oh, well, easy does it. And what this will do is this will help flatten it out so it doesn't puff up too much. You want it to puff, but you don't want it to puff up too much since we're going to fold some layers. Okay, so once you have that, then I just make it kind of even, and I'll disregard that. And then you start cutting strips. And they don't have to be the same size, because, you know, if you're folding a mummy or mummies, it's all different kinds of sizes. Okay, so then what I do is I take my pastry brush, and what I have made here is I've made some, I used 1 egg and 1 teaspoon of water and just beat it up a little bit so it gives a nice egg wash. And what you want to do is you want to just lightly brush one of the strips. That way it will adhere nicely to the hot dog. And then you grab your hot dog, and then what I do is I get my finger right there and I start and I fold it over the hot dog, and then you leave a space open for the face, and then you can just start going crazy with it. Fold it up, fold it down a little bit, and then make sure that when you loop it back around that you loop it back to where the strip began, because you need to get your puff pastry right up against the other part of the puff pastry so that it will stick. And we have our first little mummy, and you can actually cut another strip. Remember your egg wash because it will make it adhere. And while you're doing all of this, your oven should be preheating to 350 Celsius. No, hold on, we're in America, Fahrenheit. And this is so much fun because you can get your kids to help with it. Oh, where's my pastry brush? And a little bit of the egg wash. And remember what I said, fold it first over and then start looping it around. And go up a little, go back down. And you want to make sure that you're fairly firmly pressing down on your pastry so that it sticks to the hot dog. My husband's going to be so happy when he gets home because I'm using some of his favorite ingredients today. I've got some meat, I've got Reese's Pieces. Okay, so then once you have your hot dogs, then you grab your cloves, and you can use pepper too, but the clove is nice because it has, I don't know if you guys can see, but it has this little bit of a stem, so it's perfect because you just stick it straight into the hot dog. And then what you want to do is you just stick it right into the hot dog for the little eyes, gently. And look at the cute little mummy, it's so adorable. And then you want to place it on a greased cookie sheet. The little eyes. and on a greased cookie sheet. And then what you want to do is you want to grab a little bit of the egg wash and just very gently brush it back over the hot dog. And this is going to give it a really nice golden shine and a crunchy, crunchy crust. Crunchy crust, say that 3 times in a row. And this is going to go into our 350-degree oven. And it's probably going to go for about 10 minutes, so I'll set my beeper. 10, 15 minutes. What you want to do is you want the puff pastry to just puff up a little bit and golden, and that's perfect. Let me wash my hands. So now that we have our hot dogs in the oven, now we can play with the rest of the sweets and not feel guilty about it. Well, not much anyways. All right, so let me move my puff pastry out of the way, and I'll actually move this out of the way as well. Move this back here. There we go. Nice and clean and tidy. Now, when you play with candies or chocolates or whatever, your best friend is going to be wax paper. So make sure that you get some wax paper. I'm going to move this out of the way too so that you guys can see this very well. So get some wax paper. And I usually just cover my countertop in it, especially if we're going to work with chocolate. That way, if it sticks to the countertop, then it won't stick. Oh, oops, I'm breaking my stuff already. That way, when your chocolate gets hard, it doesn't stick on the countertop, but it sticks on the wax paper, so it's easy to peel back off. So what we're going to do first is we're going to do some spider webs. So what we'll need for that is we'll need some pretzel sticks, we'll need some chocolates, and what I usually do is I buy these little candy wafers. They're perfect because you don't have to temper them, so you can just melt them, and they come in different kinds of colors, and you can pick this up at any craft store or a grocery store. And they're perfect because what I usually do is I just pop them in a microwave for about 30 seconds, take it out, stir, 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 pop it in the microwave, 30 seconds, take it out. Or what you can do, what I've done in this case, is I have put the wafers already in a little piping bag. Now these piping bags you can also pick up at the grocery store. If you don't have a piping bag, you can use a Ziploc bag, but make sure that you first melt your chocolate in the microwave and then pour it in your Ziploc, because the Ziploc is not quite strong enough to withhold the heat. But these little what are they? Piping bags, pastry bags, they are perfect for the microwave. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop that in for 30 seconds. And then you just let that go, and then what you want to do is you want to, as soon as it comes out, you want to kind of play with it like I did in this case. Now sometimes it hardens back up a little bit on the bottom part. It's okay, just pop it back in there for 10 seconds and it'll melt right away. So we'll need our chocolate, and we're going to need our pretzel sticks. And while that's melting, we can go ahead and start our spider web. So you want to take your pretzel sticks and kind of make a star out of it. And this is, once again, this is so much fun for kids to help you with. And you want to make sure that it kind of sort of touches in the middle. All right, so once again, what you want to do is just kind of play with it. Make sure that you close off the top, so just twist it off, mush it, and then we're going to pop this back in there for 30 seconds. Now make sure that you twist off your bag. I have accidentally before forgot to twist off my bag and the chocolate went everywhere in the microwave. Trust me, you don't want to clean that up. So just make sure you twist it off at the top. Okay, so once again, start fanning these out into a little star. And you can do as much or as little as you want. But keep in mind, you're going to be piping chocolate, so it may be better if you use more pretzel sticks rather than less. And let me see this. My hardest part about Halloween and candies and everything is trying to keep my husband out of it. Let me tell you something. Last night when I brought all this candy home, he said, "Can we please open that?" Because his favorite is, of course, the Reese's Pieces, which, you know, You can use M&Ms or whatever, but Reese's Pieces are his favorite. All right, so this should be good. And you can see that just melted right away. And our white has hardened a little bit, so I'm just gonna pop that in there for about 12 more seconds and make another star. That one's a little small. Now, what you can do if you don't want really big stars like this or really big webs, spider webs, you can break the little pieces, break the pretzel sticks into smaller pieces and then make smaller little webs. But I think the big ones are fun. All right, so this is all melty. And then what you want to do is you just want to kind of snip off the top end. There we go. And then what you want to do is you want to first gather up, squirt a little bit of the chocolate right there in the center. That's going to hold your pretzel pieces together. Oh, this one is... If it starts clumping up like that, don't worry, just squirt out the top part of it until it starts flowing freely again. There we go. And then from that point on, what you want to do is you can just go around and just pipe from one pretzel stick to another. And I usually make sure that I pipe pretty thick because you want it to make sure that it sticks. And you can just go all around until you reach the end. Now, like I said, make sure that you pipe fairly thick, because remember, it has to hold it together. And like that. How much fun is that? And look, you have a spider web. Isn't it cute? All right, so then you can come in with your dark chocolate, or in this case, black chocolate. Heat that up for just a second. And then we're gonna pipe a cute little spider on there. And that's another reason you wanna kind of pipe a bigger piece in the middle, not only to hold that, but so that when you pipe a spider on there, you can actually see it. Let me pipe that one a little bit bigger. And there we go. Oh, I'm starting to smell the hot dogs. It smells like a ballpark. Okay, we're gonna snip off this little piece. And like I said, sometimes it clumps up just a little bit. You just have to help through that first little bit of the chocolate, but you can always remelt it back later. And then what you do is you just pipe a small little circle, and then your head of the spider, that's clumping up a little bit. There we go. And then you come pipe your little legs. How many legs does a spider have? 8. I was always the kid in high school that got that wrong. They're like, Linkie, how many legs does a spider have? 6. No, Linkie, how many legs does a spider have? 7. It's gonna have 7 when I'm done with it, okay? All right, and look how cute. So you have your little spider web and you have your pretzel. So it's sweet, salty, it's the perfect snack. And like I said, you can do smaller pieces with breaking your little pretzel pieces smaller and making smaller little webs. So next I'm gonna show you how to do cutesy little witches hats. Now, if you guys are like me, you love these little fudge strip cookies. I mean, they're just so delicious. And so this is so easy to do. You take your fudge strip cookie and you turn it upside down, like so. And then you get, hold on, let me first get this. Then you get a few Hershey Kisses. Now this is gonna be the hardest part, is to unwrap all of these. How many is there? 6. I love Hershey Kisses. Love the ones. And you can also get the ones that's filled with different kinds of things, caramels. All right. So then I get orange, but you can get purple or you can color it any kind of color you want. But when I think about Halloween, I think orange and pumpkins, and so I am going to use orange. And then what you want to do is you just want to pipe a little line around, or a little circle around the already circle, the one that's already there. And you want to kind of pipe this fairly thick. Oh, that's our hot dogs. Let's see if they are ready. Oh, no, they can go another 10 minutes. Alrighty. So you want to pipe this fairly thick, because remember, your Hershey Kiss has to stick to it. And like that. And then you just grab your little Hershey Kiss and you stick it right on there. Look at the cute little witches' hats. Aren't they precious? And the great thing about these little candy melts is you can get different flavors too. And this one is orange sherbet, so it smells delicious. And I need one more. Is that not the cutest little witch's hat you've ever seen? It's so adorable, I think I should wear it. Okay, so then my last little trick or treat thing is a small little piñata, but it's not a piñata, it's another witch's hat, but it's a treat for the kids. Instead of having a piñata, you can make them their own little piñata or witch's hat around Halloween. So what you'll need is you will need some chocolate chip cookies, or you can use any kind of cookie as long as it's a little bit of a bigger cookie. I'm going to use chocolate chip, and we'll do 3 of them. So you'll need chocolate chip cookies or a bigger cookie. Then you'll also need ice cream cones or sugar cones. We'll need 3 of them. And then you can play around with the candies that you want to fill this with. You can use candy corns, or you can use M&Ms. I'm using Reese's Pieces because guess who's going to get to eat this later today? My husband, and he loves Reese's Pieces. So what you do, oh, and I also picked up this cute little confetti as another little surprise, because when I think of breaking a piñata, just the stuff goes everywhere. So if the kids break into this, it will be perfect. And don't be fooled, adults will go bananas over this. All right, so you just fill your little ice cream cone, and then I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of this as an extra surprise on top. Which one do I want to use? I'm going to use the black one. And then from this point on, you're going to pipe a circle, kind of the same size as your sugar cone, on your chocolate. Now, if you want, you can layer different chocolates, because this is going to shine through. So you can even do a little bit of the orange on the outside. And then you're going to take your cookie and upside down, and then you flip it around. In this case, only the orange came through. And see that the chocolate chip cookie is almost the same color as the cone, so it's a different color of a witch's hat. And that's going to be nice, and it's going to adhere very well. So a little bit of the other chocolate. Let's see if we can make it go through this time. There. And then we're going to fill it with, oh, and you know what? I'm going to pop a Hershey's Kiss in there as well. This one gets an extra treat. A little bit of the confetti. Take it upside down. And there you go. Some Reese's Pieces. We'll give this one a Hershey Kiss too. Oh, there are Reese's flying everywhere. Take it upside down and stick it. Now you want to be sure that you don't press too hard on these, because they're very brittle. As you saw earlier, I'm already breaking things. And there you go. 3 little perfect witch's hats. And this is where the fun comes in. Then, since you already have your chocolate melted, you can always drizzle a little bit of the chocolate over it and make it pretty. Make like little confetti things, or we can do another line of black, or we can do black dots. This is going to be a very fashionable witch hat. Fall is all about fashion. So then once you have that, who's to say that you can't take a few of the Reese's Pieces and placing them all around. You know, this is not just fun for Halloween. The great thing about doing these little things is it's great for birthday parties as well. If you have a kid that has a birthday around this time of year, it's perfect. And look how adorable. And you know what? I think it's time to check on our mummies. Check on these, and they look like mummies. Luckily, they don't smell like mummies. They smell delicious. Oh, look how cute. They are simply adorable. And they came out perfect. So the puff pastry is a little bit of puff to it. It's a little bit of golden. It's our perfect little treat for Halloween. So back to this. You are probably wondering now, how are we going to get that spider web off of the wax paper? Well, it's very simple. Actually, let me grab two of these. This is why we did it on the wax paper. So we can transfer our little witches' hats to here. This one's not decorated. You know what? Maybe I should decorate it right quick, just to make sure that it's not. Well, all my chocolate is. Well, let me just pop this back in for a second. We can't have one that's not decorated. Then it won't be all pretty. But we can go ahead and transfer these little witches' hats to here. And these I'm just going to scoot out of the way. And this should be ready to rock and roll. Just squeeze out the little top part. And we can just kind of drizzle this right here. Maybe on the top we'll do one. Now it looks more like a clown hat, but either way. And we'll use some of the confetti to just kind of sprinkle it. And that is perfect. We'll move that right there. And then, like I said, you're probably wondering, well, how are we going to get this spider web off of this? This is what makes it so perfect. If you have a marble block at home, or if you don't, then anytime you do any kind of chocolate work, if you do it on wax paper, then what you do is you want to just kind of flip up the wax paper, pull it on one side, and then kind of guide, oh, I forgot to turn this off. Kind of guide your hand up underneath, and then slowly start peeling back the wax paper. Kind of see how I'm kind of walking my hand down until you get to the bottom, and then it just lifts right off. And then you have a perfect little spider web with a spider on top. And that is perfect. Now see how great, you know, to me, if I was a guest and I could get to somebody's house around Halloween and there's big treats like this, I would be like, I just want a spider web, forget about the rest of the food, just give me a spider web. So you have your spider web, and we have our great little mummies right here, and they should just lift right off. Hold on. Let me get, well, I don't have a spatula back there. Sometimes I move my kitchen around a lot. I don't know if you guys do the same. I get bored with it the same way. And we have our mummies. That's still hot. Let me move that way. So we have our mummies, we have our witches' hats, and remember, you can add more green to anything. Or if you have all your little witches' hats on the plate and you want to fancy it up a little bit, sprinkle some confetti or around your spider web. That way it makes it a little bit more colorful. And now the last question you probably have is, how are you going to break into your piñata or your witch's hat? Well, it's very simple. You just go, oops. It gets a little messy, but you can get the point. Or you could just bite off the top, and look how perfect it is. You have all your candies in the middle. It's a perfect treat. I have many recipes on my website, livinglinkie.com, and I have a Facebook and a Twitter at Linkie Marais. Please keep up with me and join me on my next adventure when we break more candies or whatever's gonna happen on here. Guys, have a great day. See you next time.